Hi, everybody. My name is James McCoy, and I currently serve as the Associate Vice President for Academic Affairs at the College of Southern Nevada. In beautiful Las Vegas, Nevada, where it is warm and sunny all year round. No, just kidding. It's really not. But it is a beautiful place to be. At the College of Southern Nevada, we serve about 35,000 students. We're a single college with multiple campuses. And we've been involved with Complete College America for a number of years. We've adopted 15 to finish. We've adopted the co-requisite math pathway model. We're really big into a momentum year right now. And over the last several years, we have launched into a multi-phase approach to academic maps and building guided pathways, or as we like to say, GPS 2.0. So today, what I hope to do is share with you just a brief overview, sort of a 30,000-foot view, if you will, on academic maps, the why, the how, a little bit, and then I hope you'll join me at a subsequent session in the future where we can get into the weeds a little bit more in strategy and talk implementation on academic maps and guided pathways. So what are some of the challenges associated with our students right now as they enter into college? What we see from an outcome standpoint across the country is low graduation rates, right? I'm sure this is not unique to Nevada or even the West Coast. We see our students are, if they do graduate, they're walking out of our institutions with a huge accumulation of excess credits. Therefore, their time to degree, time to completion is way too long. And as a result of that, they are racking up excessive student debt. And we are seeing this in headlines across the country. And obviously that is creating a very significant mark on students' perceptions of the reality of access to higher education. So with these challenges in mind, I think it's appropriate that we perhaps start with this notion of why do students get off track to begin with? Well, my first hunch is that students perhaps were never on a track to begin with. Perhaps they didn't have on-time academic advising. For many of our open access institutions particularly, we see that students are enabled to, or given the opportunity to become admitted into the institution, in some cases after the start of the semester. And then we ask them to sort of enroll in this sort of late registration process and get on a track without any on-time academic advising. It's very rushed in that sense. We also see that catalogs, college catalogs, are very difficult to comprehend, particularly for first-generation students and students who are entering a college campus for the very first time. Oftentimes, students do not understand course prerequisites. They see a course that's required on their degree sheet for their particular degree or major, but they don't realize oftentimes that there are a series sometimes of course or courses that lead up to being able to take the course that counts. And we talk about math and English particularly in this regard, a lot of sciences and a lot of our STEM majors as well. Oftentimes, students simply do not understand course sequencing. They don't understand that to be successful in this college program, they ought to take this course before they take this course, because comprehension of the learning outcomes in course A will help them be more prepared perhaps for course B, even when there are no formal prerequisites in place. Other reasons students get off track is because they simply withdraw. They drop the course, or perhaps they failed a course. And the moment that momentum is lost, oftentimes the students bail out of college altogether or simply start to accumulate a lot of unnecessary credits. The required courses, this is a big one, are not often available at the right time. And that might be, when the student needs to take it in a given semester or term. That might be that the department or the school or the college is not offering the course at a time that is convenient for the student to take that course. So thus they get off track. And of course, one of my favorites, our students change their major, change their minds, change where they want to go with their life, not once, not twice, but upwards of 3 or 4 times in a given academic career. I know that was my story in college in the early days. I changed twice. Many of my friends and colleagues changed 3, 4, 5 times. And at my institution here in Nevada, our students on average are changing their major 3 or 4 times. This is a huge reason why students get off track. So this is a very simple snapshot from a general education requirement listing from a undisclosed college in this country. I bet this looks awfully familiar to you. A student is often at time of onboarding handed the general education requirements that they have to engage in as a student. So here, can you imagine? I mean, they're given this general education requirements. It says basic liberal studies requirements. You must take 2 courses. Those courses must include a diversity overlay. Don't forget you have an English composition course that needs to be actually 6 credits, 3 of which must be in a writing course. Here are your options, A to Z. Don't forget you also have a fine arts and a literature requirement from subsection A, 6 credits, 3 of which must be fine arts, 3 of which must be literature. Here are your list of 100 options that you can take, but rest assured we will not offer all those options to you. Good luck trying to find the right course and get on the actual math academic pathway. This is not uncommon across institutions across the country, and so it's no wonder that students are never on a track to begin with, at least not without some solid proactive academic advising or perhaps an academic map. So let's talk about academic maps for just a moment. Academic maps, very simplistically, are term-by-term sequences of courses that are required to complete the degree, not out of time, but on time. Academic maps translates to degree requirements into a very simple roadmap to follow. Students simply register for the courses that they are required to take as they are identified in the academic map. So here's what one of these might look like. This is a very static version for now, just to show you sort of the concept here. This is a catalog, a snapshot of the Communication Associate of Arts degree at my college, at the College of Southern Nevada. You will notice very simply that there is a first semester, a second semester, a third semester, and a fourth semester to complete a 2-year, 60-credit degree. Following the 15 to finish perspective that we do, we encourage our students to go full-time. So we're building an academic map that encourages that full-time sort of exposure to courses. You'll also notice in that first semester that English and math are required. Our national data, and I'm sure your local data, shows that when students don't start down their pathways for math and English immediately upon admission into the institution, that oftentimes they take all the fun courses, if you will. Not to say math and English aren't fun, but they take their elective courses, or they take courses that are within their program of study from a special requirement side. And they skip out on that math particularly. And what happens is they build all this momentum in their degree, and they're getting all these exciting skills in their degree, and then they realize, oh my goodness, my ACT scores weren't all that great. Oh no, I'm below college level math. Now I've got to get on a math pathway that hopefully includes co-requisite math that you'll learn about later. But nonetheless, it's important that English and math, the gateway English and math, are plugged into that first semester for momentum. It is also important, as you'll note, to engage the student with some courses that are in their actual program, so non-general education courses. What this does is it creates energy, it creates excitement, it reinvigorates the student in the field of study for which they have chosen to dedicate their lives to. And so you'll notice in the first semester for this communication student, they're going to take that oral communication course. That's in their special program side. And in their second semester, before they accumulate 30 credits, or before the end of their first year, they will have been introduced to culture and communication and interpersonal communication, all of which are on that special program side of their degree. Now, we're not going to neglect the general education either, and from that 15 to finish standpoint, we're going to make sure our students are going to graduate on time. So again, they're going to take some literature courses, they're going to take some additional English courses, perhaps a American government course, etc., as they complement their special program credits. You'll notice that at the end, if they follow the map, they would have completed 60 credits and earning that degree in just those 2 years. So oftentimes I have heard, as I've traveled the country, that, oh my goodness, if we do academic maps, that's just another silver bullet, that's just another spaghetti on the wall, that's another intervention. What's the next golden ticket that's going to come around? And by gosh, we are just initiative fatigued. But I want to reference that this academic map work is simply a spoke in the wheel. It's a cog in the wheel. It's another element, if you will, of guided pathways, of that momentum year, of that 15 to finish perspective that we've all been talking about as a nation. So this is not yet another intervention. This is a complement to an existing intervention called that momentum year that is incredibly important. So it complements 15 to finish, as you noted. It complements and really builds for this idea of meta majors and incorporates general education alignment. And we're not going to have time in this short video to go into meta majors, but if you join me in a future session, we'll spend some time in that regard. This also really promotes and almost simplifies proactive and regular academic advising in that momentum year. Because now all of a sudden, every student does not need to see an advisor every single day of the year. In fact, if we give our students a very dynamic experience in these academic maps, the reliance on academic advising to help them figure out what courses they need becomes minimal. And we can leverage our academic advisors and our academic counselors in much more provocative ways to help students with the real help that they need in their academic journeys. This also slices nicely into block scheduling and accelerated learning. And of course, it promotes the early completion of Gateway Math and English, complements our co-requisite and math pathways work for Complete College America as well. And finally, by leveraging technology, it allows our guided pathways or our academic maps to become less static and more dynamic to meet each individual student needs based on any remediation that might be required, based on transfer in credits that might be coming in with an existing student, and a host of other reasons. So some additional benefits of academic maps. They save students time and money, no doubt about that. Students always know where they are in their completion and where they are going next. In fact, they know where they're going before they even get there. In our case at CSN, from a 2-year standpoint. For our 4-year institution friends, from a 4-year standpoint. And for our friends who are going from, say, a 2-year institution to a 4-year institution, leveraging the opportunity to build academic maps with transfer in mind, especially as a system within a state, is all the more important. Another benefit of academic maps is that departments can predict the student course needs. We talked about a challenge when we said that students oftentimes can't get the course they need because they're not offered or there are not enough seats offered at the institution. Well, now, if we get every student on an academic map, academic schedulers can determine exactly the number of seats they need at any given time and can actually schedule those out, not one semester out, not even a year out necessarily, but even 2 to 3 years out if they want to get really proactive. Advisors can also work more proactively with the students who really need the just-in-time help, and faculty will have predictable schedules. Oftentimes, our faculty only know what their lives are going to look like within the next 16 weeks, right, if they're on a given semester schedule. And now faculty will have a better chance of understanding what their teaching loads might look like, not only for a semester or two, but even a year or 2 or 3 or 4. And finally, our classroom physical space can be most optimized because we'll be able to more strongly predict what what classes students are going to take at any given semester. So in Nevada, for context, our big goal when we jumped into our Complete College America work about 7 years ago was to increase Nevada's post-secondary degree attainment rate from a mere 30% to at least 60% by the year 2025. We are making steady progress in meeting those goals. We are working with Complete College America. We are in partnership with Lumina Foundation and a host of others, Achieving the Dream, etc., to really amplify our student success initiatives. Academic maps is one of those approaches. So I would caution you to try to dive deeply into the academic map sort of work with trying to accomplish all of these things in sort of one sitting. In other words, I would encourage you to take a phased-in approach. It starts with what you're doing right now. You're engaged in a Complete College America conversation. That is incredibly, incredibly important. By pulling in resources, experts, data to help inform your decision-making as it relates to how you're going to approach this work. It also includes the involvement from faculty and staff. Everybody is responsible for student success at our institutions, and we cannot discount everybody's opinion. Obviously, there are some strategies by which you can include or make sure you include sort of an inclusive, collaborative approach without making the group too big, so that you actually get some work done. Building static maps through collaboration is probably a really important step. Get something published in a catalog, recognizing it is just first phase 1. It is a static approach. But you're going to recognize also that perhaps phase 2 is going to move you from a static to a more dynamic experience for each individual student in their academic maps. You're going to hopefully leverage technology as you begin this work. I know Complete College America has given their seal of approval on a host of different technological platforms that really help come alongside this work and make those guided academic maps even more dynamic. Maybe it's part of this phased-in approach. You're going to start building meta majors that will tie to these academic pathways or these maps that will leverage 15 to finish at the same time, that will help students get on the right academic map at the right time during their momentum year without accumulating a bunch of credits and changing their major more than once. And then, of course, this work will sort of bring the institution to an alignment of general education. So those general education conversations, the right math for the right pathway, for the right degree outcome will come up in these conversations, and it's really rich to be able to have those conversations in these contexts. This will give you an opportunity from a phased-in approach to amp up academic advising, perhaps using analytics appropriately so that your academic advisors can be tied to students who need the most help in the right moment of time. Again, academic maps help to do that. And this will also help amplify the first-year experience conversation with more guided exploration and career exploration and academic exploration, because we're leveraging ultimately academic maps tied to 15 to finish, tied to meta majors, tied to just-in-time advising, creating a momentum year that is second to none. So with that, I recognize this has been a very 70,000-foot view of academic maps. I travel the country and hope that I'll have the opportunity to see and visit with you and your institution as you all dive into building strategies and implementations of your academic map work with Complete College America. My contact information is on the screen there in front of you. I encourage you to reach out to me with any questions you have, and I wish you all the best as we all work together in this country to increase college attainment for a better future for our country. Thank you very much.